आज के इस एनालिसिस में वी आर गोना अनलॉक समथिंग दैट्स ऑनेस्टली अ कंप्लीट गेम चेंजर. Welcome everyone. We're diving into a complete step-by-step guide to mastering one of the most high-stakes situations in your entire professional life, the interview room. This explainer is designed to completely flip how you approach your next big career move.
So let me ask you a question. क्या आपने कभी ये nightmare face किया है? You spent days preparing. You memorized every little detail. You literally knew the answers backwards and forwards. But the exact second you cross the threshold into that interview room, bam! Your mind goes completely blank and you just freeze. Trust me, आप अकेले नहीं है. This happens to millions of incredibly smart, highly qualified candidates. It kind of feels like your own brain is betraying you, doesn't it?
But hey, here's the absolute best news. Confidence is not some magical superpower you have to be born with. It's totally a learnable skill. And today, we've got a literal masterclass toolkit lined up for you. We'll quickly run through why confidence disappears, the 3-second impression, some killer body language secrets, speaking with confidence, and finally, the famous STAR method.
All right, Section 1, why confidence disappears. We really need to uncover the actual psychology behind why our minds just shut down.
Okay, let's dive into this. The real culprit in an interview is almost never a lack of technical knowledge. You know your stuff. Instead, it's these 4 specific mindset blockers tripping you up. We're talking about a deep fear of rejection, the fear of being harshly judged by a total stranger, a simple lack of preparation, and of course, that toxic, repeating loop of negative self-talk. When you freeze, it's really just your own psychology getting in the way.
And all that messy psychology? It's driven by the single biggest interview myth out there. Look, from day one, we're trained to view an interview as this terrifying exam, right? A pass or fail interrogation. But the reality is so different. An interview is literally just a professional conversation. That's it. When you reframe it in your head as just 2 professionals sitting down to discuss a problem and a potential solution, that intense, paralyzing fear of being judged, it just naturally melts away.
Moving on to Section 2, the 3-second impression. Because believe it or not, HR is evaluating you way before you even open your mouth.
Literally within seconds of laying eyes on you, HR is rapidly checking off these 5 specific visual cues. How are you walking in? Are you slumping, or is your posture tall and proud? Do you have a genuine welcoming smile? Are you making eye contact? And what's your baseline energy level looking like? Seriously, your confidence is speaking incredibly loudly before you ever even get the chance to say hello.
So how do we fix that? That brings us to Section 3, body language secrets. Let's get into the action plan for nailing those nonverbal cues. Let's kick it off with rule number 1. In fact, do this with me right now, wherever you're listening. Sit straight, pull those shoulders back. Slouching instantly projects low energy, insecurity, and just a total lack of confidence to the hiring manager. On the flip side, a nice straight back immediately signals alertness, respect, and serious self-assurance.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how people completely misunderstand eye contact. We always hear, maintain eye contact, right? But so many candidates take that to mean an intense, unbroken, unblinking stare. And let's be honest, that is just awkward for everybody involved. What you actually want is natural eye contact. It's about building a genuine human connection. Periodically looking away naturally as you think, but always coming back to steady, comfortable visual engagement.
Moving right along to rules 3 and 4. Please, whatever you do, don't freeze up like a statue. Using smooth, controlled hand movements makes you look dynamic, expressive, and genuinely passionate about what you're saying. And pair those gestures with a professional smile. Smiling isn't just about looking friendly. Neurologically speaking, it actively calms your own nervous system while simultaneously putting the interviewer at ease. It's totally a win-win.
But, and this is a big but, you absolutely must avoid these specific danger zones. Fidgeting. We're talking about clicking your pen over and over, aggressively shaking your leg under the table, or tapping your fingers. These are nervous tics. They literally leak your internal anxiety outward for everyone to see. And honestly, worse than that, they severely distract the interviewer from the brilliant answers you're actually giving. Keep your hands calm and keep your feet firmly planted.
Okay, Section 4, speaking with confidence. We've got the body language down, but how exactly do we translate all that physical confidence into our actual words? Well, here is the ultimate secret. The single most powerful technique you can possibly use when you start speaking is to slow down.
Nervous candidates naturally rush. They talk way too fast just to get it over with. Confident candidates, they take their time. By intentionally slowing your pace, you instantly sound way more authoritative, and it acts as the absolute perfect antidote to those nervous jitters.
To really help you pace yourself, use this power formula. When you get asked a question, Step 1, truly listen. Step 2, pause, take a breath. Step 3, answer. I promise you that deliberate 2-second pause between hearing the question and speaking shows incredible confidence. It proves to the HR manager that you're giving yourself the time to think clearly, rather than just panicking and blurting something out.
Beyond just your pacing, your voice itself is a major tool. We already mentioned speaking slightly slower, but you also really need clear pronunciation, so definitely don't mumble. Maintain a controlled, steady volume throughout, and crucially, end your sentences confidently. Don't let your voice just trail off weakly or shoot up in pitch at the end of a statement like you're asking a question. A properly controlled voice massively elevates your professional impact.
But hey, let's be real. What happens when the absolute worst occurs, and despite everything, your mind still goes blank? Use this exact quote as your personal lifeline. That's a good question. Let me think for a moment. Seriously, memorize that. It is completely normal to need a second. Saying this out loud totally diffuses the tension. It makes you look thoughtful, and most importantly, it buys you the crucial recovery time you need to find your footing and deliver your answer.
Section 5. The STAR Method Guide. This is all about how to structure your answers so you sound organized, sharp, and highly professional.
Let's move to and see how this builds a truly perfect response. STAR. First, you clearly explain the situation you were in. Then, outline the specific task you were responsible for. Next up, the exact action that you took to solve it. And finally, the concrete result of your efforts. Using this specific framework ensures your responses are tightly organized, completely on topic, and never ever ramble into irrelevant details.
Now, mastering all of this, it takes a bit more than just reading a list of typical interview questions off a website. It really requires a holistic approach to your career. That's exactly why resources like JobSwami HR Solution are so incredibly valuable. They don't just focus on rote memorization or giving you canned answers. They provide practical, comprehensive guidance on communication, your body language, and real-world hiring trends. It's about helping you prepare properly for the reality of the market.
And that brings us to our final and honestly most important takeaway. Confidence doesn't come from knowing everything. It comes from preparation. You absolutely do not need to be perfect to ace an interview. No one is. You just need to be prepared. Practice your body language in the mirror, practice pacing your voice, practice running through the STAR method. So looking at everything we've covered in our explainer today, from mastering eye contact to nailing the power pause, which specific area are you going to start practicing first for your next big interview? Take that first step today.
आज